Hey, life can change in an instant. One minute everything feels normal, and the next someone else's mistake turns your world upside down. That's when you need a team you can count on. NACE Law Group has been standing up for DC families for decades, fighting for neighbors hurt by medical malpractice, wrongful deaths, and serious injuries. They don't just settle quickly or push papers, they dig in, fight hard, and make sure every client gets the justice they deserve. And here's something we love. They're a longtime supporter of CityCast because just like us, they care about this community and the people who call it home. So if you've been hurt or someone you care about has, pick up the phone, call NACE Law Group. They'll stand with you, fight for your family, and make sure your rights are protected. Visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com. That's WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com.
This podcast is brought to you by Wise, the app for international people using money around the globe. With Wise, you can send, spend, and receive up to 40 currencies and save up to 55% compared to major banks. Plus, Wise won't add hidden fees to your transfer. Whether you're buying souvenirs with pesos in Puerto Vallarta or spending euros to tip your Colosseum tour guide, you know you're getting a fair exchange rate with no extra markups. Join the 15 million customers who choose Wise. Download the Wise app today or visit wise.com/US/compare to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Today on CityCast DC. Summer's over, but that doesn't mean that camping has to be. Whether you're an experienced outdoorswoman like myself or just testing out the waters with a bit of car camping, there's still time to get outside. I'm joined by Leo Murray, founder of Kibiboyz and leader of Concrete Escapes, who's been breaking down barriers around camping and helping DMV city folks reconnect with nature one campfire at a time. Today's Thursday, October 9th. I'm Bridget Todd, and here's what DC is talking about. Leo, thank you for being here. I guess we should just jump right in. What is Kibiboyz?
Hey, how you doing? Kibiboyz is a community that I created about a year ago now. The whole goal is to get more of us, i.e. people of color, camping, get us more outside or have us interact with the outdoors, but via camping. So I know a lot of people post-pandemic, they went hiking, they started running, they started snowboarding, skiing, but I didn't see many people camping as much. I went camping for the first time in 2022, and it kind of altered my brain. I didn't know I enjoyed being outside that much, but yeah, that's what Kibiboyz is.
Do you remember your first camping, like where you went, your first camping experience?
Yes. So I was in Lake George, which is upstate New York. It's about 6.5 hours away, 7 hours away. I have a buddy of mine. He is from that area. I believe that's Albany. And we rented a boat, and him and his brother brought their jet skis, and we camped on the lake for about 3 days. And all of that was a first for me. Being on a lake, like camping with a boat, that was a first for me.
I love that area. I've never been camping up there, but I have been on a hiking trip in the Lake George area. It is gorgeous.
It's amazing.
One Black outdoors aficionado or enthusiast to another, it is true. I do think, I'm a longtime outdoor person. I always describe myself as an outdoor cat, I guess I would describe myself as. But it's true. I do think that when people find out that I enjoy hiking, camping, anything outside, really, that is, sometimes people are taken aback. Why do you think that is?
I know exactly what it is. And I'm speaking like as a Black man who has grown up with all of us. The number one thing I hear is, oh, like, it's what white people do. Or, oh, like, I'm scared of bears, or I don't want to be outside. It's a weird stigma that we have where we look down on people who want to explore other things and don't do things traditionally. And that's really what Kibiboyz is breaking that mold and changing people's minds to have them come outside. And it's worked on a few people, but it takes a lot more energy and persuading for majority of people. But yeah, I'm sure that's why a lot of people are kind of hesitant to be outdoors. It's like, why do I want to be outside when I have a home? It's like when I went skydiving and I tell people, I've been skydiving, they're like, well, why the hell would you jump out of a perfectly good plane? So it's one of those things.
I definitely get that. I have friends who say, like, oh, yeah, why would I want to live outside if I have a perfectly nice apartment? And I always say, you might have a lovely apartment, but your ceiling cannot compare with the stars, my friend. There's stuff outside that you
That is
simply
true.
could not recreate in your home.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the kind of camping that we have in our backyard here in the DMV area. What do you love about camping around here?
So the spot that me and my comrades have kind of deemed home for us when it comes to camping is Green Ridge State Park. That's about an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of DC. It's maybe like 30 to 40 minutes past Hagerstown. That's our favorite spot. That's our go-to spot. It's extremely beautiful there. It's almost like dispersed camping. You can backpack camp there or hike backpack camp there as well, which we will be getting more into backpack camping. But for right now, I think we're just sticking with the car camping just to get just so people are more comfortable with camping. But there's Green Ridge, there's Shenandoah, there's a lot of places in VA. I think maybe 2.5 hours out, another beautiful spot is Elkhorn Lake. That was actually the first Kibiboyz camp trip, and it was extremely beautiful down there. There's a campground in Greenbelt, but you can take the metro there. You could go to Fletcher's Cove, or you can go to the C&O Canal. You can take a bicycle there. There's a lot of places where you can camp nearby.
So for folks who don't know, tell us the difference between car camping and then I guess what you might call backpacking, the kind of camping where you're driving in maybe and then doing a little bit of a hike and you're kind of far from where your car is.
Yes. So car camping, you have all of your gear in the car. It's exactly what it sounds like. You drive into your campground or your campsite and you kind of just park your car right there. Your car is within like less than 10 feet to 20 feet of where your tent is. It's a lot more safer for families and new campers. That's what we do. We drive into our campsite, unload the truck, set up our tents, set up our tarps and our entire campsite, and the car's right there. Now, with backpacking, like you stated, you drive your car to wherever you're going to go. So, for instance, let's use Green Ridge as an example. I would drive my car at this point in Green Ridge, and then they actually do have proper dispersed camping in Green Ridge, and I believe it's a 6 mile hike, if I'm not mistaken. And then you would hike 6 miles to a campsite. There's an area within the forest that there's a bunch of different campsites, and it's first come, first serve.
I got my start with car camping when I was first getting into camping. And it was a good way to start because you don't have to pack as light because you're not toting everything on your back. It was definitely a good place to start if you are sort of with somebody or are somebody who is not so sure about camping. I think car camping is a great way to start out. But
It is.
once you perfect it, I do think I have had some of my best experiences hiking out a little bit because it forces you to think a little bit more practically and pack a little bit more light, which kind of becomes a little bit of a challenge in and of itself that I find kind of enjoyable about camping. But also I do think you can get more wilderness, right? So I guess it depends on what kind of experience you're looking for out there. But if you are wanting it's going to be me, the stars, really nobody really around other than the people that I'm with, I think you do have to sort of get a little comfortable with hiking out a little bit.
Yes. There was a key word you said there, wilderness, right? So how I see backpacking versus camping. Have you ever left your phone at home by accident, or have you ever like had to go a week without a phone because it was broken?
Oh, yes.
And don't you feel so much better when you're not like connected to your phone for a certain amount of time? And like you actually can't have a phone. You have to figure out how to ride the bus or figure out how to get to your destinations without GPS, without anything. It's like dumbing everything back down to the bare necessities. That's what backpacking is. And it's like, what do I need to survive and to be, comfortable? Because you can spend buku bucks on like a $300 Nemo sleeping pad. I mean, there's camping is expensive. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a second as well. But yeah, backpacking is breaking everything down to the bare necessity and being as light as possible and just moving on whim, going wherever you want to go. And like, it's proper exploration versus car camping. Your car is right there. It's the only way to start. Truly the best way to get your foot in the door when it comes to camping.
Hey, don't miss the Folger Theater's Julius X, playing now through October 26th at the Folger Shakespeare Library. This bold new play by Peabody Award-winning journalist Al Letson remixes Shakespeare's Julius Caesar with the history of Malcolm X, sampling lyrically and historically from Shakespeare's text, from famous speeches by civil rights leaders, and from Letson's own verse. Called Urgent and Timeless by the Washington Lobbyist, Julius X explores the cyclical nature of societal strife, as well as the shared human experiences of ambition, betrayal, and brotherhood. Tickets start at $20 and can be purchased online at folger.edu or by calling the box office at 202-544-7077. Tuesday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Get yours today. CityCast DC is made possible by the Peabody Institute of the Johns Hopkins University, presenting the Peabody Performance Series, a full season of free concerts at the Johns Hopkins University Bloomberg Center located at 555 Pennsylvania Avenue. The Peabody Performance Series brings the artistry and innovation of one of the nation's leading conservatories to the heart of Washington, D.C. With concerts and programs spanning jazz, classical, chamber music, opera, and dance, the series showcases Peabody's world-class faculty, accomplished students, distinguished alumni, and renowned guest artists. Each event invites audiences to react, reflect, and recharge through the arts while sparking dialogue on the role of performance in civic life. This fall, the series opens October 3rd with the Peabody Camerata in a program of powerful choral and chamber music. On October 8th, Peabody musicians provide live music for the film screening of the Academy Award-winning Netflix documentary The Only Girl in the Orchestra. Peabody Graduate Jazz Ensemble performs original works and new arrangements on October 31st. And on November 14th, the first Slang Lecture explores American roots music, led by distinguished visiting faculty artist Darren Atwater. While all the events are free, tickets are required for entry. The full performance schedule and ticket information is at washingtondc.jhu.edu.
For years, DC has been told that outdated, tough-on-crime ideas are the only way forward. But what residents want and need is investment in real, effective solutions. Programs like community violence intervention, housing first approaches, trauma-informed care, and mentorship programs are helping break the cycle of violence today. It's time to invest in what actually works. If we're going to talk about public safety in DC, let's talk about what we know really makes us safe. Go to realsafetydc.org to learn more.
You touched on something that I know a thing or two about myself, which is that it can get expensive. Once you start looking at gear, the next thing you know, you're like, well, we should get a storage unit to really account for all this gear. What do you think of as absolutely necessary to have a good trip?
Okay, so to absolutely have a good trip with us, the bare necessities, which would be tent, sleeping pad, sleeping bag, for sure, off rent. The thing with camping is like you get what you pay for. And of course you would need, I always say, bring some kind of cup, maybe some titanium silverware. You're going to need your food. Get yourself a jet boil. And I said jet boil because I'm thinking backpacking. So that's one thing like that I kind of like teeter back and forth, because as I'm buying more gear, my mind is already going towards the backpacking route.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, bring a jet boil, but we don't even use a jet boil. We use actually a Snow Peak Takibi grill, which is about 30 pounds.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful grill. We stand by it. That's actually where the name Kibiboyz comes from, is from the Takibi grill. We just dropped the ta because the Snow Peak's idea of reason for calling Takibi, or what Takibi means in Japanese, is like gathering around the fire. So for us, we're building a community around camping, but we also just love the Takibi grill because it's a fire pit and it's a grill. So we have like 3 of those that we take with us every camp trip because we're car camping. Now, if we're backpacking, that thing is not coming with us at all.
Let me ask you this. Are there any sleeper items that you think would really improve the camping experience that people might not be thinking? Because I definitely have one, and I want to see if you have any.
Let me hear yours.
Here is mine. This is going to sound wild, but stay with me. If you are camping and you're sleeping overnight, bring a small, unbreakable bowl that what will serve as your kind of nightstand. So, I take off my watch at night. Where's it going to go? In the bowl. My headlamp, I want it to be close to me. Where's it going to go? In the bowl. The things that you would have on your nightstand when you go to sleep in your apartment, bring a small to medium-sized bowl that you will put those items in. And trust me, it's a game changer. It might not sound like much, but you don't want that stuff kicking around with no home in your tent.
Exactly. It's easy to lose your stuff in your tent.
You don't want there to be an emergency and you're thinking,
Exactly.
Where's my whatever, fill in the blank? That thing has to have a home where you know exactly where it is if you need it. If you need it quick, there it is.
The one time there's a bear, right? And you don't have and you don't have your bowl, you're cooked.
Exactly.
You're cooked entirely.
Let me ask you this. How many people do you think is the ideal number of people for a camping trip?
Okay. So we just started our like endeavors earlier this year in the sense of like actually building the community. So it's really only been 4 to 5 of us camping at a given time. But this past 2 weekends ago, we took some people from New York and we took some people from Philly and we camped at Hickory Run State Park, which is in Pennsylvania. And there was about 9 of us. And that was like super manageable. The perfect amount, if you're starting out, one, to feel safe and comfortable, I would say 4 to 5 people is like a solid number to go with if you're starting out. But I mean, our goal, honestly, my goal is to have as many people as I can to have come camp with us, to share that experience, because the outdoors, like, you can't gatekeep the outside. But the perfect amount, honestly, I would say would be around that 4 to 5 range. You got to think about food. We're pulling in for food and we're eating really good. No meals are missed when we're camping. How about you? What do you think a good number is?
4 to 5, I think, is a good sweet spot. I think 5 is the most I've ever camped with. And I do think that once you start to get a little more than that, just a lot of different personalities and variables to keep track of when you're out there, which can be a lot. And to your point about the eating, when I was young, before I had ever gone camping, I thought that when you went camping, you had to eat beans out of a can. I thought that was the only item that could, yes.
From Watchmen.
Yes. I was like, the only meal that can be consumed while camping is beans from a can. But genuinely, I feel food tastes better outside when you have to kind of be intentional about what you've brought, how you use it, what you're going to make out of it. I don't know. It just brings out a certain creativity in me that I just love. I love mealtime by a campfire.
We always joke because we can cook, but God damn, are we not like Gordon Ramsay outside? Like the type of meals we cook, I love to grill. I do enjoy cooking, but I do not cook like that when I'm at home.
It just opens something up creatively.
Yeah, because you're outside and your brain is just, and you're sitting in your home all the time if you're working from home, or if you, you go to work and you come home and you're not feeling it. I'm gonna order pizza, but being outside, like we cook some damn good meal. When we camped in the Catskills in the end of June, the homie Dom, he is our outdoor specialist is what we call him. He's been in the outdoor space for about 35 years. He teaches us everything that we know. Great guy. But he made oxtail.
Wow.
Nobody's really making oxtail in their home unless your grandma's making it. You know what I mean? When we camped 2 weeks ago, we did a whole red snapper, like a massive red snapper. We cooked steak. We've done honey beef bacon. It's just like you said, that creativity just flows, and it's really like not having that many options of the ingredients and then of the seasonings and everything else. It's like vegetables, like protein. That's it. What do we need? You know? But of course, as you get more into backpacking, that level of food creativity kind of dies down because you can't carry like a massive grill with you, or it's best to stay as light as possible. And I can't have 3 New York strips in my backpack.
Exactly.
There's no room for that.
Okay, well, you alluded to this a little bit earlier. The weather is turning. What are your thoughts on camping in colder temperatures? How cold is too cold to camp for you, and what do you think people should try it?
So I haven't camped in the cold yet, but I do have my gear. I have already started buying the gear for the cold, i.e. sleeping bag, which is like super important. I think I have like a 20-degree bag, clothing and all of that. This year we're going to camp, but I think you should camp in any weather.
They have a saying in Norway, there is no bad weather, just bad clothing. And I do believe, the latest I have gone camping is mid-November. It got pretty cold, but it wasn't that bad during the day.
Where was it?
Virginia. So again, it doesn't get super, super cold there. It wasn't snowing or anything. But, as long as you're well prepared, have good sleeping bags, things like that. I also have because I can be a little bit of a baby about the cold, I have a Big Buddy space heater. It's like a portable space heater that works on those little butane canisters. So that is the best investment. It was my Christmas present to myself, and it was the best investment I've ever made. Every patio is a heated patio. There is no place outdoors that I could go that I could not heat myself if I wanted. I think the CityCast team and I were doing a Christmas market where we had to be outside in December, and it was very wet and cold. And I thought, I should have brought my space heater. Look into it. I am a huge fan. It can be a year-round activity if you're prepped enough, if you have the right gear, the right sleeping bags.
It's all about preparation and state of mind. Once again, that's what Kibiboyz is for. It's let's reclaim the outdoors. It's where our ancestors came from. They did that. That space is for everyone. Literally, it's for everyone. You have to go out there outside every day. The woods is for us just like it is for them.
Yeah. As a Black woman, my kind of model outdoors woman is Harriet Tubman, because when you look at how she was able to do her thing, knowing a lot about the outdoors, knowing how to traverse and stay alive and comfortable and undetected outdoors was a big part of how she was able to do her thing. And so
OG backpacker.
Yeah, this is part of our legacy. I mean, this is going to sound so silly, but when I was a little kid, I grew up in the South, and I had the kind of parents who were like, oh, little girls should not be outside getting dirty, whatever. The weekends would come, and my dad would take my brother and his friends out to the river, out camping, out hiking, and they would come back dirty, filthy, high-fiving, having had the best time. And my brother would say, Bridget, what did you do all Saturday? And I would say, oh, we were at the hair salon for 17 hours. And that's what we did. And now that I'm an adult, I can reclaim these spaces that we have been told are not for us for whatever reason. And it's just so important.
100%. They say you need at least 3 days outside to like properly reset and recalibrate your body and your mind frame. That's why Friday to Sunday is perfect.
Are there any Kibiboyz outings that folks should keep an eye out for coming up?
So we are at the end of our East Coast tour. So we had our first concrete escape in July in Rock Creek Park. And then we did Pennsylvania in August. And then we did New York last month. So this month we're bringing it back home to DC at Fletcher's Cove, October 18th from 12 to 6. we'll have our concrete escape. The concrete escape it's a pop-up camp. So we go somewhere within the city that everybody can get to, like a park or something. And we set up our tarps, we set up tents so that people who have never camped, they can interact, learn how to build a tent. We teach people how to start fires or build fires, and we just cook. It's almost as though you're camping with us, but for a very short period of time. And then our camping trip will be the following weekend. Usually we'll do a concrete escape. And then 2 weeks after that, we will have a camp trip just so people can, call off of work if they want to come. But the goal is to recruit people from the concrete escape and have them come camp with us.
Well, that sounds like so much fun. Thank you for being here, and I will see you outside.
Yeah, for sure. Please come by on the 18th.
Outdoor Cats Unite.
Outdoor Cats. There you go.
And we want to hear your ghost stories for an upcoming CityCast DC podcast episode. So email us your DC-specific spooky stories or send us a voice memo. Leave us a voicemail at 202-642-2654 or email your spooky story voice memo at dc@citycast.fm. And also, listeners, don't go anywhere because in just a moment, we have a sneak peek into a bonus episode coming out later today. Our sponsor, Public Welfare Foundation, is kicking off a 3-episode series with us about the most effective violence prevention tools in DC. This episode will be dropping later this afternoon, so make sure to check it out. Here's a sneak peek.
I remember when we first started with Cure the Street, one of the first things I did at the time, Chief Newsom was the chief of police, and I asked him, could I meet with his brass, with his team, and I told him what we was doing. We had a new program about prevention, and I wanted him to meet my team. So he had all his white shirt, his lieutenants and captains come to our office and meet. And it was the first time that, some of my people had any interactions on a positive level with police. Some of them was, they just come out the streets. They was just changing their life around. So they was like, man, we get ready to meet with the police. And I was like, look, trust me, this is what we got to do. And so we had a good sit down and conversation about the work we plan to do in the community and how to engage with each other in the community so we didn't mess up our credibility in the community, but also that we kind of worked together with the police when we needed, their support.
That is all for today here on CityCast DC. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. And if you want to hear more shows like this, become a member. You will support our work and get great perks. You can do that at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with even more news from around the city. Talk to you soon.